Special Edition. Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching the Newshour Special Edition. Today, former US President Donald Trump narrowly survived an assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. He was there to address a political rally. Pennsylvania's Butler village is a small city, almost a village which has a population of barely 15,000 people. This attack happened when he was addressing a crowded gathering. Trump is now safe but has sustained a bullet wound to his ear. In his latest statement, he has said that we will fear not, we will remain resilient. One civilian rallygoer has also been killed and 2 others were critically injured while the shooter was neutralized by secret services. There are a number of lapses that have now come to fore. We've pieced together the most significant images from the day and the sequence of events of that fateful shooting. Here is a lowdown.
And look what happened to our country.
The assassination bid on former US President Donald Trump has led to many questions being asked of the Secret Service, which is entrusted with keeping all current and former presidents of the US as well as main election contenders safe. Trump had barely begun his speech at Butler, Pennsylvania, when multiple shots were fired in his direction, one of them grazing his ear. Trump was quickly surrounded by the Secret Service and other law enforcement officers and evacuated from the stage. He pumped his fists, mouthing the word "fight" multiple times while being taken away. While Trump was taken to hospital, the Secret Service neutralized the shooter. Unfortunately, 1 rallygoer was killed and 2 were critically injured in the firing. A video shot from behind Trump showed how a Secret Service sniper perched on an adjoining building appeared to notice the shooter and shot back at precisely the same moment. It's unclear whether this was the shot that neutralized the shooter, but it was too late. It emerged quickly that the shooter had reached an elevated position, which was a low industrial shed adjoining the rally venue. A video of the incapacitated sniper was shot by people in the surrounding areas. A later photo showed security officials on top of the same shed with the shooter. An assault rifle is said to have been recovered. An aerial view of the rally venue reveals what the Secret Service didn't foresee. With Trump addressing a rally about the size of a football field, the shed the shooter had used and its proximity to Trump's stage become apparent. A photographer, Doug Mills, is said to have caught a photograph of the bullet as it whizzed past Trump. The alleged bullet looked no more than a silver streak in the photograph. Another video has come to light from the general area in the rally venue where the shooter's bullets would have landed. In the video, Trump can be seen wrestled to the ground by Secret Service staff as pandemonium broke out in the crowd.
The state police have been in regular contact with the governor's office, and the full support and assets of the entire agency are behind the FBI and our other federal and municipal partners to assist with this investigation. The thoughts and prayers of the Pennsylvania State Police are likewise with the victims of this terrible act. We are prepared to support this investigation in any way, shape, or form, and we stand ready to participate in a full, fair, and competent and thorough investigation.
Take a look what happened. In their joint briefing, the FBI and the Secret Service stated that there were many suspicious events that took place, and they conceded that they are looking at eyewitness claims that they saw a shooter on the shed and had warned the law and order authorities.
Probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, but we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey man, guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on. You know, we're like, hey, right here on the roof, we can see him from right here. We see him. You know, he's crawling.
Now, apart from the laxities that happened before and during the attack, and even after some of them, the Republicans and other Trump supporters are also pointing fingers at what they call the extreme rhetoric of left liberals. Many are talking about the language that has been used against Donald Trump in the poll campaign, which has been nothing short of acrimonious, how he was repeatedly called a threat to democracy, a Nazi, a fascist, even Hitler. We spoke to American sociologist Salvatore Babanese, who highlighted in particular the bull's-eye comment that was made by President Joe Biden. He said that this kind of rhetoric inspires those who can be brainwashed easily, leading to attacks like the one that happened today.
Unfortunately, violence is part of the American political scene and has been for more than 200 years. Now, in addition, there's a lot of highly inflammatory political language. It was President Biden himself who less than a week ago said we have to put a bullseye on Donald Trump. Now, of course, he meant that metaphorically. He was not calling on somebody to assassinate Donald Trump, potentially inspire those who, well, are obviously, a little too passionate and a lot have a poor grasp of reality to take actions like this.
They've demonized my former boss for the last 8 years. They called him literally a Nazi, a fascist, a white supremacist. Sadly, it was inevitable that somebody would act on those words. So the fact that Joe Biden 5 days ago at an event said that we need to put a bullseye on President Trump tells you everything you need to know. There's one political party that has normalized violence in America, and it's not us. It's not the Republicans.
Now, in India, too, several leaders from the BJP have listed a series of similar threatening comments made by opposition leaders, particularly those from the Congress party in the past, to claim that a hateful rhetoric is the direct cause of popular leaders being targeted, just like Donald Trump was by the armed attacker in the United States. The BJP leaders have also highlighted on social media that democracy is in danger is the theme in the United States presidential elections, just like opposition's Save Constitution pitch during Indian Lok Sabha elections. BJP leaders also say that it is not a coincidence that the term dictator is being used by leftist lobby to brand powerful and popular leaders. Congress, though, has countered this narrative.
Bharatiya Janata Party has been leveling false allegations, and especially regarding 2013 bomb blast in Patna, and they are just trying to divert the attention from the real issues of unemployment, and rather they have reduced the security cover of our leader Rahul Gandhi ji, and comparing it with Donald Trump is just eyewash.
जिस गांधी परिवार के लोगों ने शहादत दी, इस देश की एकता अखंडता के लिए शहीद हो गए, आपने तानाशाही निर्णय से उस परिवार के नेता और कांग्रेस के पूर्व राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष श्री राहुल गांधी जी की सुरक्षा कम कर दी, सोनिया गांधी जी, प्रियंका गांधी जी की सुरक्षा कम कर दी, जबकि अभी भी उन पर खतरा है। तो ये जो तमाशा है, ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी का सब दिखाई पड़ रहा है। सत्ता का जो अहंकार बीजेपी के नेताओं को है, आने वाले में समय जनता उसको उतारेगी।
All right, so the answer to the big question, is it just rhetoric that is being cited by the BJP to make an argument, or have they actually hit the bull's eye? Joining me now on the broadcast is Shehzad Poonawala, national spokesperson of the BJP, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, senior fellow at IPCS, Lokesh Jindal, political analyst, S.N. Srivastav, who's former commissioner of police in Delhi. Brahma Chellaney, strategic affairs expert, is also with us. First, to start with a non-political voice. Sir, now you've seen the kind of scenes that played out today. One question that everybody wants to know right now, apart from the lapses that happened, is who really could be behind this attack?
This is addressed to whom? To whom is this question addressed?
To you, sir.
Oh, to me, okay. Well, the first, just the way Ronald Reagan was shot and survived in 1981. Donald Trump is lucky to be alive, given that the shooter was armed with a powerful weapon, an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, and the shooter was barely 400 feet from Trump. He fired 8 shots at Trump. So Trump is very lucky, and he's lucky because of 2 reasons. One, just as the first shot was fired, Trump turned right to show a slide to the audience. Had he continued to look straight, the bullet would have actually hit his head. And the second was that he instinctively ducked behind the lectern. That step saved him because several more bullets were fired by the shooter. But I think the bigger lesson from this attempted assassination is that when you have hardened polarization and toxic political discourse, as we see in the United States, this breeds violence. In the US, which has a deeply rooted gun culture, hateful rhetoric has been rising to such a decibel level as to incite violence. So the attempt to murder Trump isn't really a surprise. But the question is whether this development will help to unify American society. Unfortunately, the shooting will further widen divisions in American society, and in the run-up to the November election, political discourse could become even more toxic.
But sir, it's the given current atmosphere of politics across the world. It's not just in the US. We've seen recently in India also that politics has become more aggressive, more acrimonious. So, when, for example, Joe Biden uses a metaphor like let's put Trump on the bullseye, do you think that this metaphor is getting lost and therefore politicians need to be extremely careful in the language that they use now onwards?
That's a very good question. In any democracy, you need civil discourse, not civil war. And toxic discourse can lead to violence and even to civil war. The fact is that, and this is the main lesson from this assassination attempt, is that when political rhetoric becomes so hateful and so incendiary, it emboldens crazy people to take to arms and to try to murder a political leader. So demonizing your political opponent, as we are seeing in the United States, where Trump has been called an existential threat by Biden and Obama, Trump has been compared to Hitler. This demonization of an opponent is clearly an incitement to political violence. So it's very important in any democracy to have civil discourse and to avoid rhetoric that actually can lead to such acts of violence.
Okay, so toxicity of discourse can actually lead to violence. It's not just the BJP leaders here trying to fire blanks in the air. Lokesh Jindal, what do you then, in this context, make of comments like Modi teri kabar khudegi, Modi kutte ki maut marega, pardon my language, I'm just quoting Sheikh Hussain from June 22 of the Congress, Modi will die Hitler's death. Do you think now at least, if not then, there should be a rethink?
Well, Priya, these are some of the unfortunate statements that we come across.
But sir, for these unfortunate statements, I haven't seen anybody regretting, apologizing, any action being taken.
Well, Priya, recently Rahul Gandhi in his tweet has appealed to all the party workers not to say anything improper about Smriti Irani, although she has lost the elections. And even in 2023, he kept on insisting in the Bharat Jodo Yatra to desist from any form of hatred. And he was spreading the message of love, some form of a mutual, peaceful coexistence, some form of denial of any form of polarization. And this has been the very basic ethos on which Congress party and its ideology is based upon: ahimsa, brotherhood, peaceful coexistence. And that is what is required in today's world, in today's democracy. So few of the Karyakarta or leaders, when they resort to some form of use of rhetoric, derogatory language and all. But this is not what Congress ideology is all about.
Okay.
Congress believes in a discourse, some deliberation and consensus, and that's how democracy ought to function.
Shehzad, are you convinced? Are you still concerned?
नरेंद्र मोदी अभी भाषण दे रहा है, मैं आपको बता रहा हूं 6 महीने बाद 7-8 महीने बाद ये घर से नहीं निकल पाएगा। हिंदुस्तान के युवा उसको ऐसा डंडा मारेंगे, इसको समझा देंगे कि हिंदुस्तान।
Do I need to say anything more to convince anybody? First of all, democracy number 1, America, the leader of opposition gets shot at. Democracy number 100 as per the Congress ecosystem, the leader of opposition says all this about the PM and removes the Yatra in Jammu Kashmir. Nothing is done and nothing will be done because this is Bharat's culture. But having said that, what is common between Shinzo Abe, Farage, Trump, Modi? All of them belong to the conservative right-wing bloc or the non-left bloc. All of them are routinely dehumanized, delegitimized, and the mainstreaming of this is done, unfortunately, by sections of the media, sections of the intelligentsia, and then the most violent language is used and justified not just by the random karyakartas of the Congress, but by the top-notch leaders. 2013 Patna bomb blast taking place in rally of Prime Minister Modi. Digvijay Singh says that Modi has got this done for popularity. Bhima Koregaon plot to assassinate him, Rajiv Gandhi style. All the accused were saved by or were defended by the Congress ecosystem. 2022 Punjab security lapse that led to Prime Minister Modi's life being put in danger. IYC chief says, how's the Josh? Varanasi attack on Prime Minister's convoy, Rahul Gandhi justified it. Modi is called Hitler, kabr khudegi teri, tu maut marega, dash dash ki. Routinely he is abused. These things have been taking place and the Congress party has been doing it routinely. And the direct result of this kind of poisonous, toxic rhetoric is what we have seen in what has happened in America. This is exactly what they want to happen in India also. Otherwise, please tell me, now that I've given you the concrete evidence of Rahul Gandhi, what action has been taken on Rahul Gandhi? In fact, Rahul Gandhi is so shameless and brazen. Just recently when the convoy was attacked with a chappal and Abhijit Iyer is there, he justified it. He said this is the problem. Modi, nobody fears anymore, so they are throwing slippers at him.
Lokesh Jindal.
Well, in 2022, when the Punjab elections, the Prime Minister was stranded on the flyover. At that point of time, Sonia Gandhi ji had condemned the incident. In fact, she had written extensively and stated that it's the Prime Minister of the country and all due measures must be taken to ensure that the Prime Minister is given all forms of security and the nation respects the post of the Prime Minister. Shehzad, the kind of
one second. Lokesh, just 1 second. Let me. No, I'm not interrupting you. You've got an opportunity to come back, so I also get an opportunity to come back. Now you don't delegitimize and dehumanize me.
No, also,
don't dehumanize me on
also
TV.
Before Shehzad comes in, while you speak about Sonia Gandhi, sir, am I wrong when I say that Randeep Surjewala, the same Punjab convoy breach that you're talking about, he called it a political drama? Drama.
See, in politics, when these developments happen, you have various people expressing their views.
Sir.
But the party's official stand and the party's high command and the basic ideology and tenet for which the party stands has to be adhered to.
Sir, at that point in time, Randeep Surjewala was Congress Communication Department head. Are you saying his opinion is not party's opinion?
See, the views that he stated could be some form of a probable stray thought that he expressed. But if you talk about the stand and the position that the party took, it wasn't in line with what he stated.
Did somebody ask Randeep Surjewala to apologize then? Or
why? I mean, that's solely up to him.
Sir, it's very convenient. Whatever doesn't suit your argument today, you call it a stray comment.
Well, Priya, if you are occupying a position and as an ordinary layman, if you are expressing a stray thought, you are free to do so.
Yes, but I'm not talking about an ordinary layman. Like I said, I'm talking about the head of communication department, and you are the one who brought up that example. I did not.
Let me just add one.
So he did not utter this officially on the official handle, and he did not have the statement.
Sir, he told the reporters, and I can quote it for you, and then Shehzad will come in. Punjab today witnessed an unprecedented political drama by the BJP, which has loss written on its face. He also says 5 other things, but I will not waste my time. Yes, Shehzad.
Let me just come in with a fact. Today's communication head, Jairam Ramesh, routinely calls the 3rd time elected Prime Minister non-biological Prime Minister. They routinely call him a dictator, and here is the official Congress Party website, the official Congress statement, which Mr. Brahma Chellaney was saying in context of US. The statement of Mr. Khadge: democracy will end if Modi Shah return to power. This is officially on the Congress Party. Priya, officially on the Congress Party. What democracy has ended? When Vajpayee came, one second, sir, don't interrupt now, it's my time.
Please,
1 second, let me
finish your point.
One last thing.
Mr. Jindal.
1 second, please. No, I will not yield.
Right,
I will not yield.
Lokesh, let him finish his. We will not have this slanging match. Please, gentlemen. Shehzad will finish his point, and then Lokesh Jindal will respond. I also need to bring in Mr. S.N. Srivastav and Abhijit Iyer Mitra after that.
The same Randeep Surjewala has called our voters and people who vote for the BJP, Janta Rakshas hai. Hillary Clinton said basket of deplorables. Every day as a BJP worker and as a BJP Karyakarta and supporter, these Congress people who are only a few crores in numbers, we are much more than them. They abuse us and they put a radar and a target on our back.
Lokesh
and it is
Jindal,
difficult for BJP people to go out because we don't know which jihadi will come and attack us. This is what they have promoted. Jihadis against us.
Is it just coincidence that the phraseology that is used in US presidential elections, fascist, dictator, threat to democracy, are the same words and phrases that we hear also in India?
Well, Priya, the kind of posturing that the political party takes leads to defining that stand in words such as fascism, undemocratic, or something that is out of the constitutional realm. And that is why these forms of words find their use in the rhetorics on which elections are contested. However, if you're talking about demonization, now what is Shehzad Poonawalla doing? Shehzad Poonawalla is hell-bent upon demonizing the Congress, demonizing the entire cadre of Congress,
by quoting facts,
saying that congressmen are anti-nationals. They are not, they are the left. They are against India. They are against the army.
Where did I say any of this?
This is not the kind of political discourse we want. We want some rational and very sensible spokespersons. We do not want people who come here with rhetorics, trying to demonize the opposition, come out with all
Sir, demonizing how?
Demonizing by saying that time and again they have been after the political party, they have been criticizing the army.
But sir, I just quoted to you the examples, and so did he of what your leaders are saying.
If we are talking about why are Muslims being targeted, now there is a charge that is put upon us for appeasement.
But we are not talking about why Muslims are being targeted. We are talking about why Trump was targeted.
And I am the only Muslim in this panel, by the way.
The point is,
and I am targeted by your rhetoric.
People like Shehzad Poonawalla are the ones who demonize and make the entire political atmosphere toxic. They are the people who are responsible for spoiling the entire character of democracy. In fact, if I tell you today why democracy has plunged at an all-time low, is because
he's doing the exact same thing Chellaney just spoke about.
Who are basically instigating the people who have nothing to do, who were previously with the Congress party, jump the ship, come out with shameless forms of rhetorics, shamelessly the very person whom they used to abuse and demonize, start changing the partner, changing the master.
No, but I think you are digressing from the point here, Lokesh Jindal. Mr. Brahma Chellaney has very succinctly said that when the narrative at the hustings becomes toxic, it eventually leads to violence like we witnessed today. But let me bring in Abhijit Iyer Mitra. There was the one point that was raised earlier by the BJP is that most of the people who are at the receiving end of this kind of violence are conservative right-wing leaders. Is that true? Because generally the perception is that it is the conservative right-wing leaders who are, for the lack of a better word, more aggressive in their tone and terror and perhaps behavior as well.
It is true that it's mostly conservative right-wing leaders who have been targeted. I mean, you look at the last 15 years, Modi was targeted in Patna, Shinzo Abe was actually killed. Robert Fico of Slovakia, who is he's a socialist, a social conservative who's seen as pro-Russia, was targeted. These are all described as right-wing leaders. Look at it this way. Everybody who's not on Soros's best buddy list or his invite list for his conferences and things like that are the ones who get targeted. True. The left pretty much runs the media. The left runs all the narrative of who is respectable and who is not. This is what they do. They create these narratives where people go after right-wing leaders, and then they justify it with all kinds of equivalences and things like that. I would remind you that Rahul Gandhi had himself tweeted support of a man who triggered riots that killed 12 people, one of whom was beheaded, and that beheading video was circulated on WhatsApp. And their own home minister in Karnataka refers to this person as yes boss, no less. So let's be clear about this. They will call people who resort to beheading also as yes boss. Nothing more, nothing less. This is something you see across the left. Nancy Pelosi, quote unquote, Trump needs to be eliminated. Joe Biden, let's put a bullseye on his head. There is another congressman today who just 3 days back came out and said Trump needs to be eliminated. Now, sure, we can all claim that this is just some contextual thing. It needs to be looked within the context. How many people do you think actually look at it within that context? We also need to understand that the FBI is going to allegedly investigate it. And how many stories have you come up so far with the FBI colluding in suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story, with the FBI actually propagating and trying to further a narrative, a false narrative of Russia collusion by Trump, etc., etc., etc. So this is a very common thing you see: institutional capture, global recognition. Because remember, the right is local, the left is global. The left's agenda across the globe is the same. They have these validation networks across the world. The right in India, for example, abortion isn't an issue. In America, it's a very big issue. In Italy, it's a very big issue. In India, it is you should not convert. In the West, the right believes you should have an absolute right to convert. So, because the left is so global and they've got the same message everywhere, they go with this sort of normalization, equivocation of the absolute and extreme violence that they advocate everywhere. Shehzad played that video to you. What do you mean, danda leke marenge? Please contextualize that to me. Tell me, in what context does danda leke marenge sound to you?
Lokesh Jindal, would you like to help us with that?
Priya, I was unable to hear anything what Mr. Abhijit said. Can you please ask the question?
His question to you is the bite that Shehzad Poonawalla played out earlier, where Rahul Gandhi is seen saying that there might come a situation where people will come out of the streets and will hit Prime Minister using a stick, to loosely paraphrase what he said. How do you contextualize that? How do you explain that away?
Well, Priya, I would say that such form of statements altogether have no place in a mature democracy.
Did you say that to Rahul Gandhi?
From both the sides, if you talk about both the political parties, they should resist from delivering any such form of statements.
Sir, would you say that to Rahul Gandhi?
Just I am firm on my statement. When I'm talking about I am with the Congress party and the Congress ideology, I am not with one person or under one leader. I am standing with the Congress core ideology for which it stands.
Sir, I want to know. Randeep Surjewala's ideology is not Congress's ideology. It's a stray comment. Rahul Gandhi's statement is also not core ideology. Whose ideology is Congress's core ideology?
He's Congress.
Priya, I would say that the manner in which parallels were drawn, rhetorics were spread during the election time period, the way polarization was being attempted at, all these forms were unfortunate and they should not be. In fact, recently the Prime Minister himself stated that the task of the media is to bring about some form of a meaningful civil discourse. Ideas are discussed.
We are not giving any statements, sir.
So what
is media got to do with this?
What I'm saying is such forms of statements from any side is deplorable, and such statements must be condemned.
Okay, such statements must be condemned. Nobody is in denial. Whether the condemnation happens or not is a different question altogether. But Mr. Brahma Chellaney, when you spoke about an international scenario, now you see how it is playing out in the domestic context. Do you think that the parallels that are being drawn by politicians here hold water, hold good for India also? Are we a different kind of, our political language is different, our political understanding is different from that of the people in the US?
Priya, we are quite polarized in India. We might not be as polarized as the United States, but we are very close to the United States in terms of polarization, in terms of our discourse becoming increasingly uncivil. But let me give you one example that has a bearing to what's happening in India. And this is the central theme of the Biden campaign. Biden has hawked the narrative that American democracy hangs in the balance due to Trump. Just hours before the assassination attempt against Trump, Biden tweeted, "Americans want a president, not a dictator, not a dictator." In other words, portraying Trump not just as a threat to American democracy, but as a dictator or dictator waiting in the wings. The irony is that according to a poll released by the Washington Post, just days before the June 27th debate between Trump and Biden, according to that poll, voters in the key American battleground states view not Trump, but Biden as the bigger threat to democracy. I mean, look at the irony of it, that voters are looking at Biden as a bigger threat to democracy, while Biden is painting Trump as a threat to democracy. And this is an international reminder that those loudest in claiming that their political rivals pose significant threats to democracy are often perceived by a majority of voters as a real threat to democracy because of their actions. So what we are seeing in the United States has parallels in India.
Abhijit Iyer Mitra, does that mean the parallels are to be drawn with the Samvidhan Bachao protests of the Congress and the INDIA bloc allies?
No, I would object to that, Priya. Can you give me a chance?
So, what happens?
Yes, you will get a chance, Mr. Jindal. Let Mr. Mitra respond. We'll come to you.
What happens is the left always accuses the right of wanting to stoke up trouble. And they always use this dehumanizing language. It's not just in India, it's across the world. You take it in any geography. Every time the left comes to power, what do? They end up executing all their opponents. It takes a huge stretch of credulity to believe that the left has ever believed in individual freedom, personal freedom, freedom of speech, or any other kind of freedom. The whole point of collectivism is to subsume your own individual rights into the collective. You look at what Rahul Gandhi has persistently done. He keeps portraying Modi as evil. What does Modi do? He keeps portraying Rahul Gandhi as a clown. Now, nobody kills a clown. You do kill Hitler. What has Trump been doing with Biden? He's been consistently portraying him as a feeble-minded man in advanced stages of dementia. Nobody kills a feeble-minded old man. What does Biden do with Trump? He keeps calling him Nazi, fascist, God knows what not. This is the classic leftist playbook. It has always been the same everywhere. And there is no difference today.
Lokesh Jindal, there is a difference between calling someone Balak Buddhi and then calling someone with unspeakable names and Hitler and fascist among others.
Trying to draw parallels between Democrats and Congress and comparing the conservatives with that of BJP is absolutely wrong. Ideologically, historically, as well as the very ethos on which both these political parties stand.
But sir, look at the parallels. They're unmistakable. You have the same language of speaking and targeting the opponent.
The Democrats, their ideology, with respect to their foreign policy, with respect to the North and South, the kind of social base that they have, and you're talking about in India, that's a completely different scenario altogether. I mean, we are grossly mistaken, and it would be some form of imposition of some Western model in Indian conditions unsuccessfully and illogically, I would say.
Okay, I'm really sorry to...
We had the Congress We did not have the Democrats carrying out a United States Bharat Jodo Yatra, parallel like a Bharat Jodo Yatra, appealing to people that there must be some form of unity or some form of uniformity. We do not have BJP talking about some form of conservative restricting
walking and talking and walking the talk are three different things. At least that is what is evident in India. But gentlemen, I really need to interrupt all of you because, and I apologize to Mr. S.N. Srivastav, I've kept him waiting for very, very long as I ran out of time. He's a former commissioner of police in Delhi and he's been a part of the SPG earlier. Sir, my final word is to you. Do you think this political slugfest increases the risk to any politician in public? And if yes, then what is the degree of that impact? Is it just a war of words or could it lead to potentially the kind of attacks we saw in the US and India as well?
See, as a former police officer, what the police officer is concerned is his duty of ensuring security. While the political parties may indulge in slugfest, etc., but the security organization should remain steadfast to the task that they have been provided. They should understand the lapses. They should learn from the lapses which have taken place in security, arrangements like this. And there's a need to constantly drill home in the security personnel that these are the lapses. While you are planning for this security arrangement, while you are implementing the security arrangement, you must not forget that all these things can happen.
Right. There have been 10 seconds.
The Islamo-left woke radical grouping in India is so sinister that it says vote jihad for one community and then it says Hindu Hinsaka in parliament. So it's not just the BJP that is being made dehumanized. It's the entire Hindu community at the behest of the Islamo-radical lobby that is being done. And therefore the Congress is doing this as a target on every Hindu's back.
Okay. Irrespective of which side you are on, one can totally agree on one thing. There have been lapses, whether it comes to the security arrangements or whether it comes to the political narrative. There is a reason it is called being politically correct. So one has to follow that. Perhaps in retrospect, one can learn lessons from that. There are many more elections that are going to come. One really hopes that it doesn't boil down to violence in any case. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. Lokesh and Shehzad will stay with me because on the other side, we will talk about that Hindu Hinsak remark and some other fallouts for the BJP in the recently concluded elections. Come back for that debate.
The News Hour Special Edition.